Nah, honestly, I just love League One, me. So gassed. Love talking about it all the time. Right, Thursday night. Leyton Orient versus Stevenage is our first game. Eyup, by the way. Leyton Orient have actually won a game. A weekend, they bet Blackpool 2-1 at Blackpool, which is... That's quite something. I don't think that should be shunned at that much. They have lost 5 games in a row before that Leyton Orient. But Blackpool at their place are a good side. Blackpool in general are quite a good side. I was fairly impressed with them when they come to us. I know they're like beating disabled kids when they come to beat Barnsley, but they look quite good. Stevenage away from home, second half at year hasn't even been that bad. They've won 2 out of the last 4. They've only lost 1 out of the last 4 as well, and it was to Birmingham, so who cares? They're not that bad of a side. This could be a lot closer than people might think it is. Last 2 times this game's been played, one were earlier in some stupid cup, but Stevenage have won twice in a row at Leyton Orient, so that might be something as well. Leyton Orient have got some decent forwards and all, but I do think it is like unstoppable force versus immovable object, where Leyton Orient's attack versus Stevenage's defence. So I won't be surprised if it were like a 1-0 or a 1-1. It's not going to be a big scorer. I'll go 1-1. Nearly got me. I'm going to go 1-1 Leyton Orient, Stevenage. Yo, subscribe, please. Half of you aren't. Do it now. First proper game at weekend. Charlton versus Huddersfield, 12:08, live on Sky, baby. Okay, having a look at the league table right now. Charlton are in 4th. They did lose the last game, though, so that effectively writes off their chance at top 2. You are just looking at, like, Wycombe versus Wrexham now. Any sort of underdog tale of somebody coming flying up out of player, so out of nowhere is gone. Huddersfield actually won as well. They didn't play on Saturday because of international break, and they've got some half-decent players, so their game got called off. But the problem with Huddersfield not being able to score goals will sort itself out. I said that before the Huddersfield game, and they put 5 past them. It weren't a case of Duff, like... Well, Duff is quite a negative manager anyway in general, I think. He's not like most free-flowing attacking football ever. He don't let the hinges off his players enough. But it was just a case of, well, we haven't got Taylor, and now we've got Taylor. So I feel like that could be what it is. And they've got decent goal scorers in a few areas at Huddersfield. And also Charlton lost 3-0 at Peterborough. So that happened. I don't know where that come from. Quite a tough game again. But the thing is, this is Charlton at home that we're talking about. And they're ridiculous. They're easily one of the best sides of the division at home. I'm looking at it now. They're the 3rd best home side in league. And they've won 9 out of the last 10 games at home in a row with a draw against Reading 0-0 at middle. So, don't think Huddersfield are going to go here and win. But then again, I remember Wycombe having a similar sort of form. And then Huddersfield went to their place and won. I think Huddersfield got a point off Wrexham at their place as well. Or maybe they won. I think they got a point off them. So, they're not shy to go in and gain a point off a good side of Huddersfield. However, I do not think this is one of them times. I think Charlton are probably better than them. They've obviously got Jones, Huddersfield still with interim thing. I'm going to give Charlton a win, a narrow one, 2-1. I want Charlton to... Out of them playoff sides, I want Charlton to go up. Stockport and Burton. Tell you what, Burton are really, really chipping away, aren't they? They're doing it, and especially with other sides like Bristol Rovers at weekend, they lost to Crawley, are all sides, so that's dragged them properly down there. Burton, if they win the game in hand, they go 3 points off getting out, but they are away at Stockport here, so it's not a case of I think you'll go and win this game, because Stockport again very good side, especially at home. 4 wins out the last 5 and a draw at home to Charlton. Burton are quite good though. Since turn it year, we've said this a few times, since turn it year, they've been like a top 10 side for the majority of it, pushing playoffs. But Stockport at their place are a good team, and I'm not going to give Burton a win. They lost to Wrexham, didn't they, midweek as well, to a penalty. I don't know why people are crying at that as well. That were a definite nail on Penny's arms, literally nail like this, so I don't know why people are moaning. Maybe it's the way that it got overturned, because it weren't given a penalty to start with, and then EFL's golden boy, James McLean, just starts wiping his tears, and he gets what he wants, doesn't he? So it might be that. But I'm going to go with a... Stockport win. I do think Stockport win this. I won't be surprised if Burton got a draw. I don't think Burton win, but I won't be surprised if Burton got a draw. Don't think there'll be a lot of goals in it, but I'll give Stockport a narrow 1-0. Burton are very hard side to break down, so it's not going to be like massive free-flowing goal-scoring team, which Stockport aren't anyway. They're not like big scorers. They're like Birmingham. They're just quite efficient. But I think they'll win the game. Speaking of Birmingham versus Shrewsbury, apparently, it's not been announced yet at the time of me recording it, because I'm recording this a few days earlier than I would do normally. I'm getting in front, YouTube brain, while it's international break. But I saw a link today that Ainsworth is apparently going to Gillingham. So Shrewsbury fully just front towel in now. They've almost accepted relegation against a Birmingham side who are absolute nailed on to win league in the next couple of weeks. By the time Milkman's come back round, Birmingham will be promoted. So it's very football for this to be 1-0 Shrewsbury. Like, 100%. Anybody can see this coming. Shrewsbury win away at Birmingham. I'm not going to do it, because Shrewsbury have lost 6 out of the last 7 games and got a point at home to Bristol Rovers, and that's it. They've not scored in 3 games. They've only scored 1 in 6 games against a Birmingham side that consistently win. Yes, they drew against Northampton, but they've had international break. They'll come back quite refreshed, a lot of the players, which they probably needed. I feel like they needed a break, a lot of that team. It's almost a race of what will happen first. Will Birmingham get promoted first or Shrewsbury relegated? I would probably say Shrewsbury relegated first. Like that could actually be in like 2 weeks. I want to give Shrewsbury a win just for a laugh, but I'm not going to do it. Again, though, I can't see it being like Birmingham 6-0 because they're just not battering anyone, really. They bet Cambridge 4-0, didn't they? That weren't that long ago. I think that were in February. But a lot, just 2-0, 1-0, 200, you know what I mean? They'll dominate this game start to finish 100%. You know when you've seen stats after this, won't be surprised if Shrewsbury have had one shot. Birmingham 80% possession. I'm going to have a guess here, 34 shots. And I might give them a couple more goals than normal. I'll go with 3-0 Birmingham. I feel like Shrewsbury mentally, especially from players' side of things, seeing the manager go to a team below him in league. Well, a full league below him even. I feel like they're probably just thinking, well, everybody else is jumping ship. What's point? We're down. Can't be asked. We're going to get his wage cut in half and then I'm pissing off to Burton or something. So, yeah, I'm going to go 3-0 Birmingham. Little tangent. Blackpool and Bolton. Bolton had international break properly. Blackpool didn't. Blackpool played away at Northampton and won 2-0. Quite surprising result. Like I said, I thought they were really good against us. Then they went and won against Cambridge. Lost at home to Leyton Orient and then beat Northampton away. Very odd. Very, very dodgy couple results. Bolton lost the last two. The Bristol Rovers one just did my head in, to be honest. And then they lost 1-0 at home to Stockport. But then they've had international break. Again, good opportunity to get a rest for a lot of the players because they don't change the team around too much, Bolton, do they? But it'll be an hard game, that. This is no given for anybody. It's an hard game to call, this in Blackpool Bolton. Do you think Blackpool could maybe fancy the chances still? No, that's 7 points off. It's either Huddersfield or Bolton in it for that last place, you'd imagine. But at the same time, Blackpool might look at this and think, well, if we beat them today, we've still got a chance. I'll give Blackpool a goal. I think Bolton scored 2. I'll give Blackpool 1. We're not doing coin flip again before anybody thinks about it. I'll give Blackpool 1. I'll give Bolton 1 as well. Can't split it, so I'll go for draw. I can't split that one. Bristol Rovers, Mansfield. Even Mansfield had the game off at weekend. Oh my goodness me. Mansfield's last game were a 2-1 win against Barnsley. I've even addressed that. Have I spoken about that? I think I did. God, where's shit. Mansfield is 17th in the league now. They have got 8 points gap. And they've only lost 1 out of the last 5 at least. So, they're doing alright, I guess. They've got a hell of a lot more fight than we have, that's for sure. And I feel like they've probably got a bit more faith in them than Bristol Rovers had. Because Bristol Rovers' last 2 games. I spoke about the Lincoln one where they got arseholed 5-0. And that were flattering to Bristol Rovers. It could have been more disgusting defending. It were horrible. And to lose 1-0 away at Crawley. They're just shit, man. Seriously. I feel like people think I've been joking all this time. Bristol Rovers' defence is the worst in this division. Easily. It's so bad. If you're not having 20 shots against them, you've done something wrong. Regardless of who you are. I think Mansfield could get at them. Like, and not even just for like traditional shite side. I don't think it'll be just lumping ball into the box. I think they could work it around that Bristol Rovers defence enough to get some decent chances on floor. And I'll give Mansfield a win. Seriously, I think Bristol Rovers are crap, and the win against us might give Mansfield a bit of belief since they not won a game before it was in about 14 games. You read. Bristol Rovers 1, because I do think you can get at Mansfield a little bit. Bristol Rovers 1, Mansfield 2. We'll get Stags a win. Cambridge and Northampton. Oh God! Every time I look at people's form, Cambridge's form, loss. Come to Barnsley, draw. From a 93rd minute equaliser from Barnsley as well. Okay. They are still going down, definitely. They're 12 points off Cambridge. They've got no chance. And to be fair, against like the worst Barnsley team of all time, and a very slack one, because a lot of the seasoned pros at Barnsley have got a slack, lazy wankers. So you're playing against a mixture of that and a bunch of children, and still couldn't win, which is worrying for Cambridge. Northampton, I know they lost at home to Blackpool last game, but they got a point against Birmingham. They bet Leyton Orient, points against Stockport. Like I've said for a long time, I think they're in a false position. But can I keep saying that with Northampton? Because we are 38 games in, and the level on point with Bristol Rovers, who I've just said is shit. You know, if the result against us had have gone differently, like if we'd have scored first and they'd have got a late equaliser, I'd probably give Cambridge something here. But that were a big chance lost, not beating us. And to concede so late on, I think it'll affected them a little bit. Northampton, I think, like I said, I can't keep saying I think they're quite good and not give them something, can I? Even though they lost to Blackpool. I'll go for another 2-1. I'll get them. No, I'm win 1-1. I'm not letting my bias take me that far. I'll go for a 1 apiece, Cambridge, Northampton. Exeter and Wrexham. Exeter have been quite good recently. They've not lost in a while. It's been 6 games, but there's a lot of draws in that. Wrexham obviously bet Stockport. They've won away at Wycombe. The Stockport win were quite big. I know it were through a penalty and there weren't like a lot of clear-cut chances in that game. A draw probably looked like fair result from the bit that I saw. But a lot of experience, aren't there? Especially coming off bench and especially in forward department. So if you're chasing a game and you bring some of them boys on, you've always got a chance. I feel like this could be a draw. There's just like there's some unnerving feeling in the back of my brain that's not allowing me to say Wrexham win for this. Even though they are like overwhelming favourites here. Exeter are definitely safe now, you'd think. They've pulled away from it a little bit. They're 9 points safe. I think they're fine. Not worst defensive side ever, either. Especially at home. They're not the worst team you've ever seen at home. I'm going to go with... No, I'm going to go with Desmond. I don't think Exeter will score 2 even. I'll go for a 1-1. Could see a 0-0. I don't know if Wrexham have even had any 0-0s entire year. You think no way amount of strikers that they've got. I'll go one apiece. Reading and Peterborough. Well, Peterborough have turning it around big time, aren't they? Like I said earlier, they bet Charlton 3-0. They bet Cambridge 1-0 in their like big derby. They're defensively much better. They've only conceded 1 goal in 4 games and it were at home to Wycombe. But Reading don't lose either. These are both on really good form, in fairness. Not lost in a while, both of them. The last loss for either of these two were at start of February, and Peterborough lost away at Charlton 2-1. But again, a lot of draws. Reading at home draw a lot of games as well. They've drawn 4 out of the last 6. Peterborough drawn 2 out of the last 5 away. Is that too easy? Is that too easy? If anything, I know Reading have been quite good at home this year, but we all shit that's going on. I think they might be down a little bit because obviously there's been that date set on for Reading to go bust effectively. If they don't get an owner in a certain amount of time, they're finished. Well, what effect could that have on players? It's hard to think because obviously I'm not one and I'm just some dosser sat in his room. Guess it depends what type of football you are as well. Because some of them will be bang up for it thinking I'm going to save this team if it's the last thing I ever do. And some of them will be like, well, I'm not going to be here, so who cares? Feet up, on the deck, not bothered. But Reading don't really strike me as a side that's full of players like that. I would probably edge it to Reading if I were going to give either of them a win. I think that they've obviously got some fate about them, that they have all year with shit that they've had. But I will go with another 1-1 for Reading and Peterborough. Just the form of Peterborough as well, you can't ignore it. Rotherham and Crawley. Crawley won the last game, but they are still 9 points of getting out. Don't fancy it. But again, Rotherham is shit, so you've got a chance. In fact, it does scream Steve Evans coming out after a game, after a 1-0 loss at home to Crawley, and blaming wind. I can definitely see that coming. And you know what? That one vision I've just had in my head is enough. I'm going Crawley 1-0. Wigan and Barnsley. You know what? As the season whittles out for us, and hopefully we play more as young uns constantly and players that actually want to be here and stop playing some of the overpaid shite bags that we've got, I think we might get better as we're in a definite dip now, but I feel like our performances might slowly start like going up a little bit as it goes on. And with some names that we're linked with, there's like Paul Warne, Duff again, Des Buckingham, like Rob Edwards. I would seriously, I'd rather have Orient than half of these blokes. Apart from Des, I want Des Buckingham big time. But apart from him, I just couldn't care less, to be honest, because it don't matter, because they're not going to get backed anyway. We're going to have had a load of shit and all. They actually bet Cambridge 1-0, so they've got one on us there. But they lost to Charlton 2-1. We've got 1 point in 4 games. We lost to Charlton, we lost to Blackpool, we lost to Mansfield, and we nicked a point very late on against Cambridge. But Jallo's back, so I'm going to give Barnsley a goal just based on the fact that Jallo's playing. If Jallo ain't playing, I'm not going to... God forbid I'm on a Wigan again. I've been enough times. If I turn my television on and Jallo is not on that pitch, I'll be turning it straight off. That's for damn sure. Defensively, they're good though, so it's either a 1-0 or a 1-1. In fact, they're definitely going to score because the defence is wank. So I'll go for a 1-1, Wigan and Barnsley. I'll end this season. And then last but not least, Wycombe versus Lincoln. Wycombe have got a game in hand. If they win it, they go level on points with Wrexham with at least a 7-goal difference better than them. So it is in Wycombe's hands. Don't know what I think. Seriously, I don't. I'm almost leaning towards Wrexham to do it now, just based on the experience that is obviously there. A lot of them players that Wrexham have got so much experience from so many different like promotion fates or relegation battles, so much character in that side and know-how on what to do. Same with manager as well. Whereas Wycombe, I feel lack the amount of leaders that it probably takes. They've obviously got a few in there. They've got like Josh Scow and Sonny Bradley. They've got a lot of players that's been there and done it for a few different sides for a long career. But Wrexham have got more. And I do fancy Wrexham as second place now over him marginally. But I do think Wycombe will win this game because Wycombe know that they've got to be up for it. They know they've got to fight in every single game for the rest of the year. The last 4 fixtures that they've got are very tough as well. Against a Lincoln side who... They've not conceded in 2 games, in fairness. They've only conceded 1 in the last 3, and it was against Birmingham. But they've got nothing to play for. And Wycombe definitely have. If Wycombe cannot win this game, I lose hope. and they've got Coney. So I fancy him for a couple. I do think Lincoln could score, to be fair. I'll give Lincoln 1, but I'll give Wycombe 3. 3 Wycombe. And that's that, boys. Absolute pleasure. Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, please. Love you all. Kiss. See you in a bit.
I say I'm a man, yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying is a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.